How well realistically do you see Derby doing? Sorry, I think I butchered the way he's asked that question. Under Eustace, the form over the last 13 games under him seems difficult to ignore going into next season. With the right recruitment, it's a playoff push. Seriously, a possibility for Derby or Portsmouth. Well, the first thing I would say in very general terms, not even accounting for Derby and Pompey, that there is no mid-table in the Championship at the moment. The last 2 seasons, we've had a ton of points go in for 4 teams at the top of the table. This year, Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United, Sunderland. And then the year before, it was Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, Leeds. We then had a high tide both seasons. Luton have been relegated with 49 this season, and Birmingham get relegated with 50 the previous season, which has meant mid-table has been pretty much non-existent. Now, what that means is that basically, if you're a team that's better than relegation, and let's pick a team like Norwich, who were 8 points above relegation, well, they were also 11 points off the playoffs. And I know that's literally what mid-table is, as in between. But what I'm saying is, if you wind back, I know Norwich had a horrible end to the season there, but if they'd probably had an average end to the season, they would have been very close to the playoffs. And with full love and respect to these teams, in the past few seasons, Bristol City got in this year on 68 points. And, you know, well done Liam Manning, but I think self-aware Bristol City fans are kind of like, oh, well, we got in there, but maybe if Middlesbrough and West Brom and Norwich, maybe with better budgets and arguably better squads, hadn't stuffed it up so badly, they would have been in there. But and then you look previous seasons, maybe not last season, but of course the season, you know, we had Huddersfield in the final and Luton in the semis 2 seasons before. And then, of course, we had Coventry, Luton and Sunderland the season before. Sunderland had just come up from League One, and of course Luton and Coventry had made their way from League Two over the previous decade. So it's just a resounding yes, of course. You know, Derby and Pompey, if they put it all together, you know, teams will have good seasons and improve. Teams will have bad seasons and fall off. And yeah, where we are right now, it is very, very open in terms of, you know, I've mentioned them, and this is with love, and they've done great jobs. Bristol City, Huddersfield, Luton, Coventry. There you go. Look at Luton and Huddersfield. They're both starting next season in League One, and they've both been in the playoff final in the not too distant past. So from a very general point of view, yes, absolutely. Of course, specifically on Derby, well, you can very easily make the argument that John Eustace left Birmingham pretty close to the playoffs. He left Blackburn pretty close to the playoffs, and Blackburn could have got in there on the final day. In fact, I think, did Blackburn take the lead at Sheffield United? I think they were in there for about 2 minutes or something, weren't they? So, yeah, of course. If I mean, what's the differential in the squads between what Eustace had at Birmingham, and this is right at the start of Knighthead, so I know they've, you know, invested like no one's business since then. But Blackburn got an amazing squad championship-wise? No, not totally, but there they are, 7th. There you go. So what Eustace will do, and what he always does, is makes a very organised, and he said this in our interview on this very channel, makes a very organised, very tough to beat side. And if you get that right, whatever league you're in, you're probably going to be in the top half, aren't you? Because you don't lose many games. Okay, you might not be right at the top where you can win tight games. You don't. If you're just organised and hard to beat, you don't regularly win tight games. It's teams that have got loads of quality, individual quality to win them a tight game, and then, you know, it's tight, but so much possession, so many shots, and really good teams, they'll just win these games, by hook or by crook in the last 10 or 15 minutes. That's just football, isn't it? But yeah, if they have a good summer, and we just think Eustace is a very useful hand at Championship level. Get a good start, of course. Yeah, of course they can be up there. Get above that 1.5. I mean, look, 1.5 points per game is 69 across the season, which not only would have got you in this season, Coventry were 5th with 69. So, yeah, why not? As it pertains to Pompey, I feel it's slightly more difficult for Pompey, although I don't know whether that's an unfair comment because both sides came up from League One last season and Pompey finished above Derby. There's just this stature thing where, having covered the Championship, because Derby have been in it so much more often than Pompey have in recent times, you almost just, rightly or wrongly, you just value Derby slightly above Pompey. But we've always said it's a bit of a cliche about Pompey. Okay, Fratton Park, fortress, leverage it. They did, go figure. It's not a cliche. They're brilliant at home last season, weren't they? In fact, there you go. 8th best team in the league at home, 40 points. So, if they got 30 points away from home, okay, that's difficult because you have to be the 6th best team away from home to get 30 points because teams, as you can see by that, skew better at home than away. There you are. That's what Pompey need to do. 70 points. Probably be in there, won't they? Although, you never know. We might go back to a normal-looking league table next season where you need 73, 74 points to get in the playoffs, where you don't get relegated with 49 and you don't have two teams right at the top with 100. Maybe we get an even more even spread, but the way the Championship's operating, maybe we don't. And to be honest, that would be more of a hope for the likes of Derby and Pompey to have a great season and get in there. But absolutely, it's, when I'm talking about the Premier League, I'm less like this, but no, it's an absolutely, and if you've seen Ipswich finish 2nd after being in League One, Sunderland finish 6th and get into the playoffs, then I don't see a reason why not, both with good managers as well, Massinio and Eustace, why those two sides couldn't be in a playoff push or even in the top 6. But don't hold me to that when I'm doing my 1 to 24s if I've gotten 15th or something, but it definitely could happen. Tom, I know you got to see a different side of it on Saturday, but what's your honest opinion on Wembley? Great question. I can't stand the place personally and wish England would play more games on the road and cup semis were back at club grounds. It's not like we haven't got a plethora of great ones nowadays. I know this will never now happen. What a good question.